You guys know exactly how I feel right now. I'm a bit kind of overwhelmed by the catch-up, if you like. For the last, I've lost count how many weeks, we've not really had any proper decent time in the garden to get work done, because there's been so much on. Now I'm just trying to get caught up, so let me try and get some jobs done, and as I go along I'll tell you all about what's been happening, what I'm doing, and obviously why I've not had time in the garden. But just to warn you, I'm trying to take advantage of a wee spell where the weather's calmed down a bit, because that gorgeous, sunshiny, dry, warm, lovely spell has gone, and it has been super windy ever since. So I may end up having to hide in the greenhouse and just narrate things for you if we can't chat like this. But hey, that'll mean a cup of tea, so that's okay. Okay, first job I'm getting done then is I just want to do a bit of support for these courgettes and squashes. Reason being, they don't quite vine, but they kind of grow sideways, they kind of fall over, all that kind of stuff. And I want to try and keep them nice and upright off the ground so that I can keep things clear, keep on top of the leaves. I get lots of issues in my garden with powdery mildew and slugs and snails and things, so I'm just trying to combat it. Now these sticks look weird because they're all curly and stuff. That is not essential. That is nothing to do with this. You could just use your average big bamboo canes. The reason I'm using these is they've got a hole in the top and I can use a bit of string and actually attach it up here, so it just makes it extra secure. Did I mention wind? And this is exactly how I do it in the greenhouse as well. Obviously, it's not a kind of perfect solution, but it's using what I have and it's better than nothing. But what I'm going to do is, as these guys grow, I'll just start tying them in to these poles and just try and keep on top of things that way. We'll see how it goes, but it's an idea. So what I've got here then is I've got 2 patty pan squashes, summer squashes, and I've got 1 courgette in the centre. And this courgette is the type that gives me a yellow kind of ball shaped courgette rather than the standard long ones. Just for a bit of fun, something different this year. And the same with the patty pan squashes. It's getting windy. I've never grown these before because I've only ever tried winter squashes and winter and pumpkins, that kind of thing, and it's never done that well for me. But a bit of an adventure this year. Now there's a lot of other staking and supporting going on in the garden at the minute because of the wind, so I've already been out and got the delphiniums done, and I'm just going to have to start thinking about the alliums and things. Now something else I've been doing here is planting up my GreenStalk, so you can see they're much fuller than they've been. I'm trying to hide from the wind. They're much fuller. I've got heaps of strawberries coming on. My tomatoes are out in my GreenStalks. I need to replace the lettuce because that stuff's gone over and I need to put some nice fresh new stuff in. I've got broccoli with a K, so it's another of those little hybrid plants I like to try that give you that kind of little broccoli type idea. So I've got some of them in here. I've also got some herbs because I'm doing a bit of a thing this year. I'm having to go grown some of my own herbal tea recipes, and I'm about to plant some more of that out. This GreenStalk, I've got my miniature peas, the same ones I grew last year, the half pints. I've got my Sprite dwarf green beans, and I've got some, if I can get you around, dwarf broad beans in there as well. And, you know, strawberries as usual, and some herby goodness going on in the other tiers. I'll talk to you about this garlic in a bit. Oh, there's a story with that. Hiding from the wind. Sleeves are up. I've got some stuff to plant. Give me a second. Okay, we're up high now. These are really suffering because they're sitting in these little pots and they're just drying out, so I'm desperate to get them planted. And I've been doing a lot here. So I have already planted loads in this. Look at the roots on that. But I like to keep some spaces open so that I've got options to add more as I go. It's not a once and done for me. My GreenStalks are pretty much like the rest of my garden. It's an ongoing thing. So this is a stevia. So you will have heard of it. It gets used as a natural sweetener. And I thought I'd give it a try. Never tried it before. And man, it's really sweet. Crazy, messes with your head sweet. Now again, I mentioned this was about herbal teas. So I've got a couple of chamomile. The soil is so warm because it's sitting in the sun. Because chamomile is just a really good one for tea. And it's one of those ones, I buy chamomile tea and I thought, why am I buying this? I could do my own. So that's what I'm going to try. I won't put them in the same spot, I'll put that somewhere else. Not necessarily for tea, but I've got a couple of fancy basils. I did this one with you guys, I think the year before last. This is my purple basil, which I love. It's brilliant for salads and things, it tastes fantastic and it looks great. There we go. I need to water these guys. This is a new one for me, first time this year. It's Thai basil. Never grown it before, but I keep seeing it in recipes. I thought I'm going to give that a go. There we go. Dead easy to plant up in these wee pockets. Right, I need to give this a good water, get them settled in, and then I'll tell you about the garlic. Important thing with the GreenStalks, something I do, is when I've just planted in there, I've just put a plant in, as I give them a really good water to settle the plants in, even though the GreenStalk's kind of famous, if you like, because it has that whole system where you water from above. When it's a new plant, to get it settled in, just like I do anywhere in the garden, a good old water. Also, as I mentioned, I've got some seeds in there. So I've got peas and 2 types of beans in there that I'm growing from seed, direct sown into the GreenStalk. Those little pockets, I water with the hose as well to keep that moist around the seeds. Because the watering system's brilliant, but it waters the centre of that big tier where the roots would go to. But when it's just a wee plant, a new plant or seeds, I just keep that pocket watered. Okay. It's getting windy. Garlic, quickly, come on. I'm going to face this way because it's getting quite windy and I'm not sure this is even going to work. Garlic. So I started off, I planted garlic. It's so windy. I planted garlic in my little GreenStalk, the one I named the green stump, because I only had a small section out. It didn't do well. Now, but actually it did far too well. That was the problem. It took off like a rocket because our weather was so up and down and we got a really unexpected warm spell. It took off and it was a good 5-6 inches tall. And then we got hit with all those storms and the wind and the rain and the cold. And although those little guys were still growing there, they just all got snapped and bent and damaged. So not all of them made it. So what I did was, the ones that survived I've kept, and you can see them. Although they're grown, you can see they're really not as healthy or as big as the ones that are here. Because basically, they just got mullered in early life, so I am not hopeful for that at all. All the stuff I've got here was fabby, because Ian at Grown Local sent me some garlic when he saw the absolute drama I was having. So these were my replacements, and these are starting to look great, and I'm starting to get scapes. That's what these are. If you don't know what a scape is, It's when your garlic starts to flower. Now you only get this in hardneck garlic, but it gives you an extra harvest because these guys, you cut them off and you can cook with them, put them through salad, whatever. It's a bit like a really, really kind of sturdy chive. You know, it's got that really subtle garlicky flavour. It's not quite as big of a hit as proper garlic. It's more of a hum of garlic. But you'll see this one, I don't know how well you can see, but they grow and then they start to bend over. When they do that loopy thing, it's time to harvest them. And that's your first harvest. But what that means is it's almost time for your garlic. Do you see how they're all starting to kind of die off, the leaves? Once it starts dying off the stem like that, that's how you know they're just about ready. So I'm usually about 3 weeks behind the guys down south with mine. So I reckon not long now and I'll be picking them, maybe in the next couple of weeks. But I'll be picking the scapes first. Right, okay, it's officially too windy. I'm taking you in the greenhouse and I'll update you in there. I've still got stuff that needs to be done, but it's just windy, so a cup of tea in the greenhouse while we have a chat. I think it is just high time. Excuse me. I think it's just high time. We haven't done this in a wee while. Oh, so I'll give you a wee update on all the stuff in here, cause first ripe tomato was last week. Oh, that was so good. Kate got the first one. That's the second one. There's more there. We'll fight over them. Oh, you can't beat the first tomatoes, can you? Just tomatoes that have flavour rather than being little balls of disappointment. Happy, happy. But anyways, whew, right, it's been absolutely just mad the last while. Oh, wee cup of tea. Last weekend was Scone Palace Garden Fair, and you guys know we love Scone Palace. We go to the garden fair every year. It is fab. It's Scotland's main big garden festival, and it happens roughly that weekend every year. So we were there on Saturday. Oh, absolutely stunning day. We just chilled as much as we possibly could. I took loads and loads of video clips, but they're all kind of vertical video clips because I was doing loads of stuff on Instagram. If you guys don't follow us on Instagram, we do lots of stuff over there, so it's worth giving us a follow, and I'll put the link in the description of the video as always. But loads of stuff. We had so much fun just chilling, catching up with other gardeners, which is the best bit, and meeting new friends and just going round the fantastic plant market. We went there with the whole, we're not going to buy anything. And then we got there and of course Kate was round all the stalls and she was making lists of what she wanted. Before we left, Kate said to me, we don't need any plants. Let's go see. Hello. And look, Kate's in another plant store. Okay, we've been round most of the plant shops.
Yes.
Rough tally. Many things do you really, really want?
Just one or two.
Two. How
or
many
three
things
or four.
would you like but don't really, really want?
A few more, 3 or 4 more maybe.
And is there anything, oh my God, I love it, but I don't think it'll fit in the car?
Well, I've seen the perfect bench, dear, over there.
Okay, let's go and look. Aha, I get it now.
My humour is wasted on you. Boxing hairs.
Oh wow. Those are fab.
They are.
I prefer them to the metal ones.
They are very cool. But that's some seat.
That is fab.
We G&T, maybe more than one G&T.
I think more than one to celebrate that. So how long do you think it would take you to knock one of them up?
5 minutes if I had a tree and a chainsaw.
Okay, let's go find the tree and the chainsaw stall. Unfortunately though, because I was doing all the Instagram work, by the time we finished and went back to the stall, all the stuff we had chosen was gone. So we actually came home with no plants. Boo! But we saw some amazing stuff. There was a salvage yard there, showing you stuff they've got. Oh, so many ideas. They had loads of fabby stuff that I absolutely loved. A whole herd of them.
Well, here.
A pair, okay.
That would make a statement.
I actually really like them. I quite like that one actually. So apparently she quite likes this one. It's got a gate in it. You know my thing about arches.
I know, that's why I was looking at it. It's very pretty.
I've got an anniversary coming up.
Never mentioned it.
Rocking chair, the arch with the gate, anything else. And then there were lots of woodworkers there. So Kate fell in love with some of the different woodworking stalls and just the kit that they had. She was chatting away to folk from Fife who make fantastic wooden things. I fell in love with a gorgeous rocking chair. Oh, I just want this rocking chair so much. So all in all, it was just such a fantastic day out. Loved it. But here's the thing. It wasn't just about all the shopping. So something that makes the Scone Palace Garden Fair different, a bird just ran past the floor, different. So it's that garden season just now, garden festival season. And you know the big things like Chelsea and they have their big show gardens. Well, we had the same thing at Scone, but we had 3 different types. So we had a small space garden, they call it. It's the one they do every year, and it's the one Gabrielle from Blooming Scotland did last year, and I interviewed her about it last year. Well, this year I was chatting to Gemma about hers. We have the lovely Gemma, and we're going to talk about this because she designed this garden, believe it or not. Okay, so it's about the journey of sight loss.
Yes.
Tell me about it then, because there's a great story with this.
There is. There's a good story. We really fitted the theme of hope, which is the theme of all the gardens this time. So we start off at the darker corner of the garden.
I'll tell you what, let's walk it.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, let's go it.
So we're starting at this bit then.
Yeah. So we start at this bit, and this is when they first lost their sight. They're feeling pretty rubbish. They're feeling dark, alone and lost. So these are quotes from our veterans about how they felt at various points.
And that's
through
what
their
this
journey.
planting represents?
So the planting represents that. So the plants here are pretty jaggy, pretty spiky, a bit sparse, maybe not looking quite so pretty.
Okay.
And then as they start to find a bit of support, a bit of encouragement, maybe from the charity, maybe from their friends and family, the planting becomes a bit softer. So we've got the hostas, we've got the ferns. We're getting a wee bit higher, a wee bit more height as well.
And a wee bit more colour.
A wee bit more colour. But we're still not got any flowers yet, because we're still early in our journey. And then we're getting a bit further round, then we're into the stilbies, which are just about to burst into a lovely pink. So this is when life starts to get a lot better. So we've got strength, confidence and belief. They're starting to believe that there is a bit of life still to be had. So, and we turn the corner, round to our lovely arbour, and it's to signify getting a nice warm hug, loads of support, and then the garden here is just beautiful.
Yeah,
beautiful,
this
soft
is where
planting, bright colours.
Colour, everything, height, textures, everything.
Yeah.
That's
so
a
trying to prove that there's
story.
life after sight loss.
Yeah, that is fabulous. Now, it's here just now for the competition. But what are you going to do? I mean, do you just leave this or?
We're not leaving it here. We are going to recreate this garden back at Lindburn. We work at the Lindburn Centre in Wilkeston, just outside Edinburgh.
Okay.
And we have guys come in every day doing all sorts of activities. Most of them haven't been able to make it up here. So it's a bit far, they're a bit frail.
Yeah.
So we're going to recreate this garden in the gardens at Lindburn.
That's brilliant.
We'll spread it out a bit. We'll make it a bit more accessible. It's a bit tight at the moment for anybody with a sight
this
loss.
is kind of a show garden. You're going to turn it into a real garden.
We're going to turn it into a real garden. We're going to add a few more sensory elements. We're going to make it a bit more VI friendly, as we would say in the centre.
Oh, and I know one thing about this because I had a wee sneaky look and you mentioned this on Instagram. But this poem, this is what inspired you.
Yes, it did. That was the original inspiration from one of our veterans. Unfortunately, that veteran does not want to be named.
Right, okay, fair enough.
So it's just a poem by a Lynburn veteran. But
excellent.
It really is quite emotive, and it was the start of the whole thing.
And the very last thing then, to close this up,
Yep.
Did you maybe get a wee award?
We did. We got a wee award. We got a silver medal.
A silver
and
medal.
We are absolutely chuffed to bits with our silver medal because we've never done anything like this before. We're amateurs, and it's been a real team effort from everybody at the centre.
Perfect.
So we're chuffed.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right. I can see people are desperate to hear about the garden, so I'll leave you be. But thank you for explaining it all to us.
Thank you.
And good luck with the people's vote later on. I'll be listening to see how you done.
Thanks a lot. See you later.
And then there's the big showcase gardens. So that is 3 gardens, 3 finalists that made it. And they are professional gardeners or garden designers. And they got to make slightly larger gardens. Okay, so we all know things like Chelsea, how famous it is for the garden design. Here at the Scone Palace Garden Fair, we've got something that's way cooler. Yes, it's garden design, but it's smaller, like our gardens, and it's not just for one day. So we're in the walled garden. Now, apart from the fact that it's all been redone and Brian has done so much work in this place, this is where you're going to get to see some fantastic garden design. And it's not just for one day, it's going to be here for 9 months. So you're going to get to watch this grow, fill in. It's going to be in the Scottish climate. It's going to be dealing with all the stuff that your garden deals with. So you're not going to get to see one day where it's perfect. You're going to get to see whole 9 months where it will grow and it will act in the Scottish climate like your garden does. You'll get a genuine picture of some garden design in Scotland. Garden number 2. Oh, there's some really cool features in this one. Something I really like is when you don't see all of a garden in one go, you've got to kind of walk around to see all the hidden stuff. These 3 gardens are going to be there for 9 months, not just one day. So you actually get to go and see them, and you can go back and visit them throughout the year so you can see the genuine garden design. The fact that these gardens have to grow throughout the Scottish season. How are they going to do? Are the plants going to survive? Are the plants going to get too big and just totally take over the space? How well have those designers done in making a real garden, which I think is just stunning. It's just the best bit about it. So you can go from now on for the next 9 months and visit. But then there was also the much smaller scale pallet gardens. So they're just the size of a pallet, and they're a great introduction for like school kids and stuff. And you get a lot of groups and schools will get involved in that one. There's even more. So I've just told you about the gardens that are like the small gardens, and then there's the show gardens that are actually small gardens, like realistic our garden size, but designed by actual garden designers. This bit, check this out. This is awesome. This is called the pallet garden section. And there's heaps, but this is all fabby stuff that's been designed by like local schools, that kind of thing. And there's themes. I've got 2 favourites already. Let me show you this. Sky, and oh, there's some bottles. What could that be? What if I show you this? You recognise this little guy? What about this little path made of yellow shells? Still need another hint? What about there's no place like home? How fab is that? But check this one. This is a really good full one. Look at this. So this is Inverkip Primary and Nursery School. This got the gold look. How cool is that? But it's super full. Look at the plants. Absolutely full. And it's all the plants, yup, you might associate with Alice in Wonderland look. Look at it, it's the colours, just the heights, and it's teapot for planting in and things. Look, they did a great job with that, didn't they? But just all in all, what an absolutely fantastic day. And you can bet it's given us lots of ideas on the whole garden design thing, because that's one of the jobs I need to get done. The garden has been looking stunning all spring because we had all those fabulous spring bulbs, but they've all passed now, and a lot of the leaves are dying away, and it's leaving gaps and just bits that look a bit sorry for themselves. So I need to get some work done, and it's great because Scone Palace has given me some cracking ideas. So yeah, that's going to be the next video. I'm going to talk you through that. My whole design and thinking, sort of planty thoughts, next video. But anyway, we're in the greenhouse, so I thought, is it time to give you a wee update on the plants in here? So anyway, you know it is basically peppers along this side and the back, and tomatoes. Now, as you've seen, we're starting to get our first ripe tomatoes. That is because these are generally much, much smaller plants, which means they have a much shorter growing season. And I have gone through how you work out growing seasons and you check your varieties and all that with you guys before, and I will link that video at the end for you, okay? So you can have a wee nosy if you want to start planning for next year. But at the back is all of my little micro plants, which means the tiny plants, and at the front it's the dwarf plants. So you can see they're a bit bigger, but they're still not the size of the normal tomato plants we grow. But all of these have got tomatoes on them, so let me show you. So we'll start at this end, and I've got the little Aztec yellows, so that's a little micro, and you can see it's starting to get the tomatoes on it. And as we go across, you'll see I've got quite a few micros, but I don't have a massive variety of plants. It's just the way things worked. But what I want to show you is these are the tiny tigers. And this is what I was talking about. Because it's a small plant doesn't mean it has to be tiny little tomatoes. Look at the size of them. Nice sort of slice and salad type tomatoes. And again, this is the Blower Zimmer tomato, the purple ones. Just look at the size of them, how fabulous. And there's another couple of plants of those at the back, but at the front, the dwarfs, so the much bigger plants. This is the one I was showing you guys, the Anthopanther. But it's got these weird kind of plum tomatoes, so I'm quite excited to see how this does. And again, just going round. This, I want to show you the best ones. This is Aftershock. And then this one is Anne-Marie Dewdrop. You know, these are my favourites, and they are in the GreenStalk as well. This is another Anne-Marie Dewdrop. And then this one, but the weird thing with this one, this has those weird potato style leaves, not your normal tomato leaves. So it's quite an interesting one to watch. But yeah, so I'm quite chuffed. Full of tomato plants, but it's not overtaking the greenhouse, so I'm quite pleased. Now, peppers. I've got a mix of these Orange Horizon, which you can see. I've got my King of the Norths, and then on this side I've got Cali Gold, so you can see there that's some more yellow ones, and some more King of the Norths, so you can see. So you can see everything's looking quite big, quite bushy, and I've got some peppers. But I want to talk to you about this, because I think this is quite an important thing. I know you guys will be quite shocked that I've got peppers if you don't grow along with me every year and you don't know how I do things. So let me just say, my plants are quite mature, okay? So if you don't have peppers and you're wondering why mines are bigger than yours and have peppers, I sowed these seeds in January and I grew them indoors using heating lights before I potted them up in the greenhouse, okay? So just remember that. But here is the downside to me having so many large peppers at this time of year. We've just had a massive heat wave and I have lost 19 peppers to sunscorch. Now, sunscorch is when the light is hitting the pepper, the strong sunlight is hitting those pepper fruits, and it actually burns them and damages them, and it spreads throughout the fruit. So I've actually lost a lot of peppers. I haven't harvested any yet because of that. Now I'm starting to think that maybe if I hold off and I don't sow my seeds till March, it might be a good way of avoiding that, because the plants won't be big enough, mature enough, there won't be mature peppers on there to get burnt when we get those little snaps of heat waves. So yeah, I do have shading on my greenhouse and that's what it's for, but because my greenhouse faces a certain direction, there's kind of cracks between the blinds and that's where the sunlight is getting in. So I'm a bit frustrated at that. But we'll see how we go. There are more peppers on the plants. Now we just have to watch and see. And I'm hoping I'll still get a decent harvest come July, August time. Fingers crossed. So like I said, I've still got heaps to get going in the garden and there's still heaps for me to update you with on what's going on out there. So we're just going to have to hope this wind calms down and I can take you around in another video soon. But until then, check the links in the video description, or you've got a choice. Tomato varieties, or that's last year at Scone if you want to see what we got up to last year. See you folks.